Hello, cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmic. If this is your first time here, welcome, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. My name is Devon, and I'll be doing a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay. Okay. All right. So, I actually got a little bit of insight on what's going on for this collective before I hit record. And so this one's going to be a little bit different. This is going to be me talking for a little bit at first, kind of more bringing through a channeled message. And then we'll see if the cards have anything to say. Okay, so what I'm getting is that this is for a collective who feels like they're late, just in life. You could be like looking back and being like, I could have done this and I could have done that, and I should be here, and financially I should be there, and my career should be here. And, maybe it has to do with settling down and having a significant other and having kids, whatever it is. This is for a collective who's looking at their life and saying, I missed the boat, I'm late, and, looking at other people and like, I could have been doing that or I could have done that, but I chose to do this with life instead. And so there's like this beating yourself up for where you're at on the journey. And, I completely look, first and foremost, I'm sending you lots of love because it's, it's not a fun place to be. So I'm guided to share a little bit of my journey, and hopefully maybe this will help you on yours. Okay, so for me, I resonate with this energy very, very much so. Um, I had a plan when I was a teenager. I was going to perform for a living. I was going to be a singer and a dancer, possibly get into acting. I could do all three. I was really good at all three. That's what I did. I danced daily, constantly, hours each day. I sang all the time. I took vocal lessons. I performed. I did acting. I did improv. That was my thing. And then, all of a sudden here I am in my 20s going to school for biology. And then had a daughter, right? And so I where I thought I was going to be in life was not where I was, financially and in a lot of different areas of life. And so the thing is, in for me, what would happen, because I was Hollywood bound, like that's what I wanted to do, that's where I was going. And then every time I would attempt to go into Hollywood in some way, something would happen. I would get sick. There was a couple times I choked in an audition. Like the words, my voice wouldn't do what it normally could do, or I would be off key, or I would be like out of sync with the music or whatever. Like, I bombed a couple auditions, and then, I would get sick and not be able to sing, or there would be a different audition for something, and then I wouldn't feel confident enough in my body to go. Like there was always something that prevented me from ever actually going into Hollywood. And it took me about 15 years to come to peace with it and come to terms with it. It's actually only a few years ago. Um, and the thing is it's one of those, ultimately, what my vision was I wanted to be on stage because there's like no other feeling like it. I mean, it's being on stage, woof, it's a rush, right? So there's that. And I loved it. I love music and I loved performing. And that's all I wanted to do. That was my passion. And then I always had this idea of wanting to make it big and then be able to inspire people. And so that was always something I would envision and like get really excited about, being in the public eye and then having the platform to inspire other people. And so when I was processing all of this a few years ago, I started getting this awareness of like, oh wow, and there's more to the story about like, past life stuff and North Node, South Node, and all of these things. So ultimately, the passion part of it, yes, I love to sing. Yes, I love to dance. Yes, I still love music. Yes, I still, enjoy acting or improv. I do random improv shit with like my daughter and stuff, and we have fun. But it's one of those things that that didn't go anywhere, but the actual part of that that was tapped into soul purpose was inspiring others. And now we've got platforms to where you don't need to be in the public eye in the same way that you needed to be 15 years ago to have a platform to inspire other people. Now you can get on your phone and record a video and inspire people, and you don't have to, be in the industry, you don't have to sell out, you don't have to do any of that stuff. And so ultimately for me it was actually divine protection that was not allowing me to get into Hollywood, but I didn't know that at the time. So I would be so frustrated and so angry, and I would just be like, this wasn't what my life was supposed to be. And so it always felt like I was late. I wasn't on, I would look at other people who had it figured out and be like, why can't I just be okay with that? Because there's always that part of me too that just it's this internal fire, and that's soul mission calling you. But it's this internal fire of like I couldn't settle. Even when I tried. It was just like there's this internal fire of like, nope, this isn't it. Nope, this isn't it. Nope, this isn't it. And so then it started, I went through the awakening like 8, 9 years ago, so on and so forth. Started seeing things from different perspectives, started diving into more esoteric stuff, and things started to become a little more clear, but I was still struggling with the fact of like it felt like I was running late. And honestly, up until a couple years ago, I still felt that way. And every now and again it'll slip in. But the thing is it's one of those you're not late, you're early. And it sounds really cliche. It sounds like, yeah, no, that's not really, how it is, but it is because the thing is what your soul is calling you to do, that fire that you can't let go of, that's calling you for more, is also the thing that simultaneously triggers this internal thing that makes you look at your life and go, I should have done this. I should have done that. I should be here. I should be there. I should financially be here. I should have, a family or whatever it is. And the thing is too, to understand a lot of people on the spiritual journey feel this. This is not something that it's not that rare when you're talking to people who are more on this path where your soul is calling you to something. So it's one of these things that do your best to process through that, and allow yourself to be frustrated about it, and then allow yourself to release it and know that you will gain clarity, because just like my situation, it took me 15 years or more to fully understand why I was never able to do this thing, and why I was being called over here. And it, has to do with soul mission, purpose, that kind of thing, and helping and inspiring others and all of that stuff, right? So that's ultimately what my soul was calling me to do. It's just at the time I also had the passion and the love for being on stage and everything else. And so ultimately, the thing that I was really excited about, obviously, of course, the lifestyle and being able to, sing and dance for a living was awesome, but the thing that I was the most excited about was actually inspiring other people. That was the thing that I was like, I can't wait until I'm able to inspire others and help others and stuff like that. That was ultimately the calling. But it looked like this thing. And in reality, I was actually called to do it in this way. It was just in a way that I couldn't even fathom at the time because we didn't even have social media. So it's one of these things that understand you will get the clarity necessary on why you walked the path you walked. Part of it, yes, is, ego and wounds and, subconscious programming and all of these things. And yeah, that is a very angering process to go through when you go through it. It's just understanding that you walked the journey you walked for a reason. You learned things on this journey that you wouldn't have learned if you did things a different way. And so the fact that you are here now and fully, starting to really, because I feel like you're really kind of starting to lock into what it is your soul actually came here to do. And so it's one of those, it's going to feel like this fire, this unsettled internal unrest. No matter what you do, it's just an unrest. And what that is that's your soul calling you to your highest timeline. It just feels like unrest because you're not in alignment. when you fully lock in and you start taking these steps into alignment, it becomes easier because then you have that sense of purpose. You have that sense of being fulfilled, even if it's not huge, even if it's not this big thing. It's, like for me, to inspire one person or to help, ultimately when I started this channel, I was like, if I could help one person walk through their journey and fully make it through some of these awful fucking cycles that happen and the dark night of the soul and the ego breakdown and all of those things. If I can help one person, I can go to sleep at night feeling like I'm fulfilling my purpose, even if it's one person. And so it's one of those, if you allow yourself to start kind of locking in that way, and even if it's, like at first, like I recorded quite a few collective videos before I actually even started this channel. And when I was recording it, I was like, okay, I'm taking steps towards this. And it was pushing me outside of the box because I had to, come out of the spiritual closet completely and stand in my beliefs and accept the fact that people are going to view me in certain ways. Some people like, they're going to be like, "Oh, you're a devil worshiper." And then some people are going to understand what I'm actually talking about. It comes with smoke, of course, but it's one of those things. It's like I know that I'm doing what I'm being called to do, even though it's still, in this way. And I'm being called to level up again, but that's it's a different video topic. But it's one of those things that allowing yourself to, one, take it easy on yourself. That's a big thing. Do your best not to beat the shit out of yourself mentally because it is easy to do. And it's just understanding that, one, your higher self isn't the one talking to you like that. That's your ego. The other thing too is to understand it's a process. So there's a process of accepting where you're at in life and just being like, you know what, it is what it is. I did the best with what I was given. And I also came in because I'm getting like you're a cycle breaker. You're doing a lot of internal stuff and you're doing things that most people don't do. So remember that too. So give yourself a little bit of credit for those things that you're choosing to do, for the fact that you are choosing to accept the activations that you are being given by your higher self to align fully with your highest self. So give yourself a pat on the back for that and know that it's all part of the process. And if you don't have clarity right now, it will come. You can ask for it and then allow yourself to process through it because you will understand there's something going on that you want to have in your life. And I'm getting a couple things. One, I'm getting it is career based or purpose based, and then the other thing is romantic relationship. And so it's one of these things that whatever it is for you, you're going to have something happen where it's going to click everything into place. You're going to get the clarity. And so just do your best to navigate with all the emotions and everything that you're doing right now. And then know that you will get the clarity for this at some point. And it will all make sense on why it didn't happen before, why you went the way you did. And yeah, some of it's going to be like, there's going to be that rub of like, fuck, part of this was because of my unhealed trauma and my subconscious programming and things like that. And that can be really angering when you realize like, holy shit, if I would have been given, you know, support in this way, I could have lived the life of my dreams 10 years ago. So that's a process to, allow yourself to move through and feel it and release it. And also know that you chose to walk this path for a reason. And there's timing in this. There's divine timing in this. So if you're like, man, I could have had this whole time, but you didn't, there's a divine reason for it. And if you're not aware of it now, remember, oftentimes, clarity comes in hindsight. So just keep going, keep doing what you're being called to do. Keep doing what you're being called to do. Keep following that soul calling, that fire, that internal pull, even if you don't know what it is. And for some of you, there's another thing going on here where it's like okay, so for some of you, you've allowed yourself to dream big and be like, okay, if I didn't have any limitations and I could do anything I want and I could have anything that I want or anybody that I want, this is what it would look like. And then it's so fucking big. And then you're over here and you're like, how could I even get there? And that's the beautiful part of alignment and doing things this way and being on this path is when you have this massive vision and it feels in alignment for you, that's your job. Your job is to allow yourself to point at the what and say, you know what, I want that life. And that's what I want. And then simultaneously be willing to do what it takes to get there. And what it takes to get there on this path looks a lot different than on a lot of other people's paths and a lot of like mainstream type paths. The way that it looks on this path is where you go, okay, I have this massive vision. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get there, and I don't know when I'm going to get there. But the beautiful part about that, the how and the when is up to the divine. So surrender it and let it go. You're focused on the what. Now you get to focus on what's coming up for you that's telling you you can't have that, and that's where the internal work happens is like, okay, well, I feel like I can't have it because I'm too old. Okay, there's a limiting belief. Okay, work through that. You're not too old until you're dead. Just is what it is. You can start over at any age. Doesn't matter. That's something a lot of light workers and people on the spiritual path come in to actually break is those limiting beliefs and these constrictions of time and this and that. Okay, so, okay, you release that. Now, what else is coming up for you? Well, it's just, financially, I don't have it. Okay, so allow yourself to release that limiting belief and know that you are a spark of the creator walking around in a human body. Your birthright is tapping into unlimited abundance. We live in an abundant universe. So now your job is to align internally with that abundant version of yourself. And then all of a sudden, you also simultaneously really start to understand what your intuition is calling you to do, start to discern, is this fear and anxious thoughts, or is this actually my intuition? Start doing that work. Then all of a sudden you'll start following your intuition more and more and more. And the more you follow it, the more you're going to trust it because the more you're going to get that confirmation bias. So then what you're going to do is you are going to be put at the edge. And then what happens is you're going to be pushed to the edge of your expansion. That was really loud. You're going to be pushed to the edge of your expansion. And the divine is going to say, you're ready to leap. And then every part of your ego and those fear thoughts and all of that stuff is going to come up and just get really, 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 really loud. That fear is going to get super big and super loud because you're at the edge of your expansion. So you're at the edge of leaping into the unknown, but your intuition is calling you to jump into the unknown. And then those fear thoughts are coming in and just like freaking the fuck out about it. And so then what you get to do is you get to decide, are you going to allow yourself to let that fear keep you where you are? Or are you going to acknowledge the fear and understand it's false evidence appearing real and know that your intuition is calling you to take this leap of faith? And so are you going to allow yourself to have that faith and leap and be caught by the divine? Or are you going to allow yourself to stay small and constricted and listen to your fear? And so I feel like that's kind of where you're at right now, is you're up against that wall that it's not even really a wall, it's a ledge. You're up against this ledge and the divine's telling you to leap, but you cannot see what's in front of you. And there's a reason for that too. Um, because this is also learning to trust in the divine, trust in your guidance, trust in your intuition, and then allowing yourself to take that leap. And the more you do this, the more like when it comes up again, you'll just recognize it. I'm not going to say it gets easier because, it does in certain situations. And then again, when you're up against that ledge and you're like, it's time to leap again, it's like, well, shit. I know it worked out in the past, but this is even bigger one. So, it's a process, but that's how this journey works. And so you've got this huge vision over here, but you don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know when you're going to get there. But then you focus on what's coming up for you in the now moment. You release what you're being called to release. You heal what you're being called to heal. You allow yourself to embody internally the energy that you would be in having that external thing. And then all of a sudden you listen to your intuition and something that you thought was going to take you 10 years takes you 6 months by listening to your intuition. So that's kind of, we're getting into like quantum manifestation and things like this, but that's really how this works. And so it's understanding to allow yourself to go through this process that you're going through while simultaneously not beating yourself up constantly, and then trusting and knowing that you will get the clarity necessary when it is time for you to have that clarity. And so again, there's divine timing all over this. And that's the thing too, is understanding now you are manifesting with the divine. So up until this point, you've been subconsciously manifesting by default, right? Because all humans are manifestors. And so you've been manifesting by default in subconscious programming and this and that. And then I feel like you've had some awareness and you've been changing a lot of that, healing some things internally, releasing some of those, old wounds and so on and so forth, and integrating the shadow and doing that stuff. And then now you're entering this phase of actually becoming a conscious creator. When you are a conscious creator, the lag time between what you want and when you get it is less because of your vibration. And then also it will show up for you in completely unexpected ways. And that's the thing too, is when you're really at the brink of fully aligning with your highest timeline yeah, most of the time, what that is going to cost you is your old life. And a lot of times, some of these things that you're being called to let go of can be difficult to let go of. And so that's where it's one of these like, you kind of get to a certain point and you go, you know what? I want my highest timeline regardless of what that means. And I know that it's going to be amazing and beyond what I can even fathom right now. So I'm going to allow myself to let go of what I'm being called to let go of. And I'm going to allow myself to take a breath and find internal peace and find internal freedom and find internal abundance and align with these vibrations and these energies within. And then, as a byproduct, your external reality has no choice but to reflect that back to you at some point. And so that's where it's really important to listen to your intuition on this, because your intuition is going to guide you on how to get over here in this massive vision that you have for yourself, but you don't know how you're going to get there. And then sometimes it's going to be one of those things like you have this huge vision, and then you're going to be called to take action on something that ultimately is aligned with your highest self, but to the human self it doesn't make sense oftentimes on this journey why we are being guided to do things in the way we're being guided to. That's kind of the other part of this, is it's like this weird inversion that happens. And so it's one of those, like, oftentimes we're like, when we get that thing then I'll be happy, and it's actually the inverse. Become happy internally as your natural state of being, and then you will experience things in your external world that reflect happiness back to you. Same kind of thing where it's like we are, we want financial security, and then so we're going there first, but then all of a sudden the divine is like, actually align with the love of your life first. And you're like, that doesn't make sense because I need to have my finances in order before I can align with the love of my life, because I need to be able to, you know, do this and that and the other when it comes to that. And the divine's like, trust me, do it this way, because you and this person coming together and working together are going to align you with financial abundance in a way that you're not even fathoming right now. And so it's understanding that there's a reason for it. And that's where you get into that trust energy. And it can be really, really difficult to trust fully. But the thing is you're trusting one of two things. You're trusting your fear and you're allowing yourself to play small, or you're trusting faith and you're allowing yourself to expand and play big. That's your decision. That's the human free will choice that you get to make on a daily basis. Are you going to listen to the fear, or are you going to listen to the faith? Both is believing in something that you can't tangibly see with your eyes. So you get to pick. And once you understand that you are in alignment with the divine and you are accessing your higher self and things like this, and then you're actually accessing the energy within you that creates worlds, it's empowering. And it's understanding that I can trust and I can put my faith in the divine, or I can trust and put my faith in these fears. And regardless of which one you put your trust and your faith into, you're going to get confirmation bias back. So remember that. So if you're like, well, when I've listened to my fear before and then this happened and then I stayed small and then this happened, and you had a lot of that fear shit like confirming what you were doing, the same thing happens on the other side when you're working with the divine. And so it's ultimately you shifting your focus and allowing yourself to trust fully and surrender to the divine, in the sense that the divine is going to lead your way to the life of your dreams. And the thing is what you're dreaming about now, what you're desiring now is still small when it comes to the higher self perspective in the divine. So remember that as well. These dreams that seem so huge and so big and so like almost unreachable, that's still playing small when it comes to the divine. So remember that as well. So there's a lot of perspective shifts that can happen on this journey, and it will happen little by little by little, and then all of a sudden you'll look back and be like, I am a completely different person. I'm completely in a different energy. My physical reality is showing up for me in ways that I didn't even realize were possible. So yeah. Okay. That was a whole fucking tangent. Alrighty dokie. Well, give me just a second. Had to get a drink of water and then was seeing if we are gonna get into the cards. Apparently I just straight up talked for 20 minutes, but here we are. And then I heard yes. So when I pulled the deck earlier, I flipped it over and I saw time to go, and I immediately knew that this is part of this message. And then on the bottom of the deck, I was just guided to look, and we've got the yin yang card. So something that you could be focusing on right now. Yeah, this is gonna go the counterpart direction. Okay. If you're focused on a relationship and that's the main thing, this part of the message is definitely for you. So if not, hang out. There still could be some other stuff that comes through. I'm not sure. But right now there's definitely counterpart energy coming through. So what we've got is time to go. So it's time to take action towards your person. What I'm getting for this is if you're aligning with this particular thread of energy, I'm getting that you are divine masculine. It's not a gender thing. It's just the polarity of the energy that you gravitate towards when you're in your more healed, aligned version of self. And so it's ultimately like the highest version of yourself is going to call you into either your divine masculine or your divine feminine energy. And this is for somebody who's aligning with their divine masculine energy because there's this action energy that you're being called to take, which is divine masculine energy. So you're being called to initiate and I just heard go get your person, like go get this person. Um this person is in alignment. You and this person in a physical union is what is in alignment for you on your highest timeline. The fact that you are even I was gonna say tasting it. The fact that you are able to feel it the way you are is showing you that you energetically are way closer to full alignment with your highest timeline than what you realize. And that would explain why that whole message of like the finances versus going for the love of your life came through, is because this is the next step for you to fully lock in onto your highest timeline. So this is one of those things where you listen to the divine, you follow your intuition. Your intuition is guiding you to take this step. This is the next step for you to fully lock into your highest timeline. When you're on your highest timeline, this is where you are aligned with your higher self, you're aligned with source, and you're aligned with another person who's also doing the same thing, and you two together now are walking your highest timeline. And what that inevitably leads to is the life of your dreams. And so that vision that you have that feels so big and so massive and you don't know how you're going to get there, this is the first step. Don't worry about the how of the major vision. Don't worry about the when of the major vision. The thing that you are being called to look at is what is in front of you right now. What is in front of you right now is the guidance to reach out to your person. So this is for a no contact situation, physical contact, because you're in contact with this person energetically. Um, yeah, with the telepathy card, the message in the bottle I really take is telepathy in this energy. So you are telepathically communicating with this person. You are aligned with this person, and it's this is your highest timeline. It is. Physical union with the divine counterpart or the highest level soulmate that you have on the planet is absolutely your highest timeline. And this is where things that you've desired and forgot about all of a sudden show up for you. And you're like, holy shit, I forgot I even wanted that. And then it's just there. So this is really, yeah, yeah. And then we've got man holding heart. So that's masculine energy in their heart space, you know. And I did say, you know, love of your life. So this absolutely could be the love of your life, which would make sense with the yin yang card coming out, which is you know, it's your perfect match, perfect balance. And that could be part of this too, is it might be one of those, you and your person, the visions that you have, probably there's a lot of similarities of what you are both desiring, and then it's actually like perfect for you and this person to come together and hold that vision together, and then there's an energy dynamic where you and this person working together energetically and then being in physical connection is going to allow you to expand to the point where you can hold the entirety of the vision and soul purpose and everything else that you are wanting to align with. Okay. Rest and rejuvenation. So definitely make sure you're allowing yourself to rest. You know, do what it is that rejuvenates you, whether it's meditating, spiritual baths, spiritual showers, getting out in nature, you know, whatever it is. I just saw somebody fishing. You know, maybe it's going to the beach, maybe, you know, whatever it is. I love water, so, you know, get into water. But there's other things you can do, you know. Maybe it's, you know, fire meditations or whatever it is. Make sure you're doing those things. This could be massages, this could be acupuncture, this could be Reiki, this could be all the things. Make sure you're doing that. Listen to your body, give your body, you know, the fuel it's asking for, etc., etc. There's also this energy here that's letting you know that when you allow yourself to take this next leap and really get on this path that you are aligning with, once you allow yourself to fully leap and jump onto this path, you're going to be able to rest and rejuvenate in just such a different way. Goddess of the moon. That's listening to your intuition. So you intuitively know it's time to do this. Mm, okay. We've got storm warning in between worlds. Hmm. We're thinking. Okay. Give me just a second. So I was really kind of trying to figure out what this message is. And so I think I got it. We've got the storm warning card in between worlds. And what I'm getting here is you feel like you're in the middle of a storm right now. You don't know which way to go. You don't exactly know what your intuition is guiding you to do. And then you're overthinking a lot of things. Probably, you know, the whole like, I should be here. I should have done this. I should have done that, so on and so forth. And so you're like overthinking it. You're really stuck up in your head. You know you're being called to balance out a situation when it comes to your person is ultimately really what this part is about. And then we've got walking away in reverse. So what I'm getting from this is there's this energy where you might not have a lot of clarity right now. And again, remember, clarity can be hindsight. So that's part of this too. It's part of being able to be in the middle of the storm and go within and say, okay, what is my intuition telling me to do? And then just doing that thing, even if it doesn't make sense. Um, and so I feel like that's kind of what's going on right now is there's a part of you that you're being called it, it's yeah, it's one of those like you're being called to go to your person, but it doesn't make sense because you feel like you're in the middle of a storm. So why would you be being called to reach out to your person now when you don't have clarity, when you don't know what your sole purpose is, when you don't know what your finances are going to be like in 6 months, when you don't know? There's a lot of unknowns in life right now. And the thing is, what I'm getting, I'm hearing anchor point. And so the thing is, this could be a connection where you are each other's anchor. So you guys are each other's anchor in the storm. This is where we talk about like compatibility and complementary energy. your feminine has strengths and you have strengths. And so the thing is this is one of those, if you don't know what you're being called to do, if you don't know how you're going to get there, if you don't know when you're going to get there, and you know you want your entire life to be different, and that could be part of it. Like you want your entire life to be different before you approach your person. But the thing is this is also about you being able to stand in your authenticity and say, you know what? I did life a little bit in a way that I'm not proud of, or whatever it is. And just like, I understand, some of why I did what I did, and I've done some of the internal healing and stuff like that, because you wouldn't be able to align with your feminine if you hadn't done a certain amount of internal work and changed your vibration to align with them. And I'm getting that your person is in their divine feminine energy. So what that's going to do is that's going to call you into your masculine energy. The thing is if you're in the middle of this storm and you're like, why the fuck would I be being called to this person right now? Because I'm not even grounded and stable. The thing is you aligning with your feminine and communicating with your feminine, the energy dynamic that happens, your feminine has the ability to pull out the best version of you. And then you actually have the ability to contain your feminine, to let your feminine rise into the best version of themselves. So this is where we're talking feminine and masculine dynamics. This is how it works in an external relationship, or in a relationship with an external person. So there's a balancing of internal aspects that happens, and then you align with your person, and then there's balance with another person. That's what this is about. So the thing is you are being called. The next step for you is to reach out and to express whatever it is you're being called to express to your person right now. And there is going to be this effect that happens on you that's going to, it's going to cause you to anchor into a version of yourself that, I don't want to say you don't have access to right now. It's just like this is the divine fast tracking you into this energy. And so it's going to be something that happens naturally. It's not going to be you going and dumping all your shit on your feminine and then your feminine dumping all their shit on you. That's not what this is about. This is a different dynamic. This is about you standing in your full authenticity and saying in full accountability. And just like, this is where I'm at in life. This is, what I see. Would you be interested in, this is what I have to offer in this now moment. It's not what I want to offer. I'm hearing like you deserve more than what I can actually offer you right now. But the thing is the energy. Okay, what you can offer your feminine is yourself. And so all of these other things that you're focused on and worried about are things that you and your feminine can obtain together. And it's going to be so much easier, and there's going to be so much less resistance, because the thing is you balance each other out. So if you don't have the clarity on certain things, your feminine might. If your feminine struggling in other areas of life, that's probably where you show up and you're like, hey, I got this. I got this when it comes to this. And your feminine's like, oh, fucking thanks, dude. You know? And then, your feminine comes in where you might struggle a little bit, and that's their strong suit. You two are perfectly complementary to each other. And so that's where, if this is the next step for you, which it is, if you're here and you're listening and you're aligned with this type of energy, this is the next step for you to get into alignment. It's not going to make sense until you take this step. That's oftentimes how it works on this journey, is you'll be guided to do things and you're like, I don't fucking know why, but my intuition's telling me to do this thing, so I'm going to do this thing. And then you do that thing. And then sometimes you don't get clarity until you do 5 more things, and then it all makes sense. And so that's the thing here, is it's like you're in the middle of the storm, you're in between worlds, you're connecting with your feminine in between worlds. And you're being called to reach out to your person and to start aligning with them in the physical realm, because what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to fully anchor into your highest version of self. So these little pieces where you're struggling, you aligning with this person right now is going to assist you in fully locking in. You're going to probably notice, I'm seeing this, like this storm just clearing, and then things become very clear for both of you. And so that's part of what this is about you following your intuition, trusting in the divine, trusting in your guidance, and saying, you know what? Fuck it. This is the next thing I have to do. I can't think of anything else. Everything, every time I think about a future reality that I want, this person's in it. Even if you try, even if you try not to think about that person and you're just like, I'm just going to think about what it would be like just me and I'm not going to think about anybody else. And then you go into a future potential vision and then you look around and there's your person. If that kind of thing is happening, there's a reason. And it's because you are this close to aligning with your highest timeline. And the next thing you're being called to do to fully lock into your highest timeline, which is again where all of these things that you desire in life happen very easily. Like it's just there's not much resistance because you're in alignment, you're listening to your intuition. And then now you align two people who are on that same path and you both are focused on a vision and you both are complementing each other and have complementary gifts and abilities. It's power couple energy all day long. And so that's where this is the next step, is to bring balance to the situation, because what you're going to find is when you bring balance to this situation with your person, you're going to all of a sudden start to find balance in other areas of life that maybe aren't even on your radar right now. And so if you're really worried that this person isn't going to be on board, this is their highest timeline too. If you've been getting all of these different signs and synchronicities and thinking about them all the time, they're doing the same thing for you, with you. I can fucking guarantee it. And it's just one of those, again, because of these dynamics, you are being the one called to go. You're the one being called to take action and initiate and go towards your person. And a part of that is because that is pulling you into your divine masculine energy. A divine masculine energy is the initiator, is the action oriented polarity. And so it's not saying that's always going to be the energy you're in, because we've got the balance internally. So sometimes you're going to be receiving divine guidance and stuff, and then your feminine might be out there, you know, taken boss level action, and then it balances. It's just mostly that's where you actually thrive, is being in that initiator action energy. And then your feminine thrives in being in the more receptive energy. And then you both are going to bounce back and forth, because that's balance. And so there is this energy of this is going to be such a balanced dynamic, and you two complement each other in such beautiful ways that what you are desiring is going to be way easier and more tangible to obtain and to actually embody when you are in physical connection with this person. And yeah, we've got angel of love. So there's unconditional love here between you and this person, and that's not going to go anywhere. It's just, yeah, especially like counterpart energy, it's this person's always going to love you. And don't be surprised, okay? Um don't be surprised if you go to this person and you find out that you're the only person that they've ever felt this way about too. Um So that's a very specific message for somebody. And then milk and honey. There's dream reality. Literally, this is a dream reality card. The land of milk and honey. This is the Dharma path. This is where you're in alignment and you're doing your thing, and you have opportunities and resources, and you're aligning with super supportive people and other soul family, and you're aligned with soul purpose, and you feel fulfilled, and there's freedom, and there's peace, and there's love, and there's all of these things that you want to embody and experience on a regular basis. That's what this is talking about. And so you are literally aligning with your heart is calling you to this path. And your heart is calling you to the person that you love unconditionally. This is probably the only person that has been able to crack you open in this way as well. And follow that. Listen to that guidance. There's a reason for it. And you might just be surprised to find out that you have the exact same effect on your person. And yeah. So okay, temple path and clean it up. So you could be in the process of still kind of cleaning things up from your, quote unquote old life or old way of doing things, and still kind of in that process. And then really aligning with this temple path, which is the spiritual path, which is what we've been talking about this entire freaking reading. So this is your highest timeline. That's what the temple path is. That's where you end up in the land of milk and honey, which is, all of your dreams coming true. Then there's this energy of cleaning it up. And so part of this could be cleaning up if you have a past situation with this person, that could be part of what you're being called to do, is to go towards this person and clean up what happened in the past so that you two can have a full fresh start. So that could be part of why you're being called to this person right now as well. And the thing is the amount of relief. Yeah, breathe. I was going to say the amount of relief that is going to come as a result of this is that alone is going to help you to clear kind of the fog or the storm energy that you might be feeling in. There could also be a call here to get quiet and listen and meditate and tap into the now moment and really listen to your intuition. And remember, your intuition works in the now moment. So if you're trying to listen to your intuition on all of these future potentials, it's not going to be accurate because your intuition is an in the now moment guide. It's kind of I'm being shown, okay, so like a GPS system in a car, right? So you can look up the best path to get there, but in real time, it's good to listen to it in real time versus the directions that you saw beforehand, because in real time you're going to see like traffic or accidents or this or that or the other. So then that's, listening to your GPS in real time is going to get you there quicker and in the path of least resistance. Same thing with your intuition. Okay, we've got the thinking woman. This is funny because we've got the thinking man and the thinking woman. So you and your person are very mentally compatible. There's an intellectual compatibility between you and this person. This is also saying that your person could be a little bit of an overthinker as well. Um, so yeah, and maybe that's part of it too, is you two coming together. Yeah, especially with the counterpart journey, because it's so mind blowing and just like really fucking wow, you know it's so mind-blowing that you and your person coming together could actually help you both. Yeah, it is an anchored connection, so it could help you both anchor in and get out of your head a little bit, as far as like the worry and the overthinking and all of that. And then there's this beautiful energy of like being able to talk to this person for hours and they can talk to you for hours. um Yeah, it's a really beautiful, compatible energy. Yeah, journey and adjacent possibilities. What I'm getting from this is you could be looking for any possible doorway to get onto this path with your person. And the thing is you have a doorway illuminated to you. It's just causing you, it's pulling you to rise into your masculine energy and go get this person, especially if you've been used to being chased by feminines. That could be part of where it's uncomfortable because you're just not used to being the one to be the pursuer, or it's not really chasing, it's more of, that initiator, the action oriented person in the dynamic. So, and that could be part of it too, is it's calling you into an energy that you aren't used to being in. And the thing is the energy that your person's calling you into is your authentic aligned self. And so remember that as well. And you have that effect on your person too, because on the flip side of that, a lot of feminine energies have to learn how to receive and not go, take the action and chase and pursue. And so this is where it's pushing you both into the polarity that you chose to embody before you incarnated and became a human this go round. You both chose that, like, you're the masculine, I'm the feminine, So it's going to push you both into this energy that you probably aren't used to being in. And so this is really, it's about alignment, and it's about you fully pulling into that highest version of yourself. And so it is pushing you into authenticity. And the thing is we're taught for so long to wear this mask and to, have all these ego attachments and all these things. And then all of a sudden now you're being called to release that and get on this journey with your person and rise and become the version of you that your person knows you can be. And that you also know you can be at some level, whether it's conscious or not is different, but there's a version of you that your person sees, that your person can pull out of you, that is possibly beyond what you're fathoming now. And then actually it does work both ways. It's just it looks different on the surface, but ultimately it's pulling each other into the best versions of each other. And so this is an energy and a situation where you both are going to come together and grow together and walk this path together. Um and it's two wholes coming together to create an even bigger whole. And then yeah, we've got the new beginning here. So there is a beautiful, bright new beginning that you have with this person. This is the next step for you to get into alignment. It's just, it doesn't make sense to you because, yeah, with the cornucopia card, this is physical manifestations. So you could be sitting here thinking like, well, I want to have my finances look like this. I want to have my career look like that. I want to do all these things. And it's the divine going, yeah, but you're not seeing the full picture. If you allow yourself to go towards this person now, the version of each other that you two can pull out of each other, you're going to all of a sudden be able to align with something that neither of you are even fathoming right now. And it's even beyond, it's more beautiful and beyond what either of you can fully fathom at this time. And this is also letting you know that there is this potential to mend the situation, and it is a soulmate energy. And with the first chakra here, it is time to ground this in, and it's going to help you balance yourself and ground yourself and gain clarity in a way that's just, it's a fast track. It's not saying you can never get the clarity and ground in and access these things that you want to access. It's just saying that this is the fast track, and it doesn't make sense right now, but it will. So just make sure you're still listening to your intuition and really allow yourself to take this action, because it's all going to make sense. Yeah, it's all gonna make sense. I saw the envy card and the throat chakra card, so that's really communicating and then longing energy. And so I feel like there is longing here between you and this person. Yeah, and then with another intuition card, this is really letting you know that your intuition is guiding you to do this, and there is a reason for it right now. And it has to do with fast tracking, divine feminine energy, and then exchanging gifts. And so this could be talking about energetically giving each other the gift of each other. And that right there is so powerful when two counterparts come together and they're in alignment and then they're perfectly complementary to each other. What they can embody and access, it's it's huge. It really, really is. Yeah, and with the fourth chakra, this, for some of you, this could be the only person that you've ever truly felt this kind of love for. And there's a reason for that. And if you're aligning with this, again, don't be surprised to find out that this is mirrored. This is the same for your feminine for most of you. Um, but I feel like you don't know that yet. Um, but there was a yet there, so you about to find out if you allow yourself to. Yeah, then we've got Treasure Island. So this is about you and your person aligning with each other and walking towards those visions that you have for your life. And I feel like they're big. I feel like you've got some expanded type visions where you're like, yeah, I want to do this, and I want to travel the world, and I want to, whatever. Like it's big. It's big. And then building blocks. This is really saying that you and your person have complementary building blocks to each other. And so now you're being called together. The divine's pushing you two together right now. You're both being pushed together. And you've both been worked on simultaneously in physical separation. Now you're being pushed together right now. And there's a reason. It's because you two are complementary. So you bringing your bag of blocks and then your feminine bringing their bag of blocks, it's way more than what you can, you put your bags of blocks together and you can build a big fucking thing versus you with your blocks and your person with their blocks. So this is about combining resources, and it's more energetic resources is really what's coming through. And maybe physical as well. It's really more about that energy complementary effect that will happen when you two are actually working together, because there's shared visions, there's shared things that you both desire. And so you've got your toolkit, your person's got their toolkit, you come together, you both have this vision, you both work together, you're both on the same damn journey, and then you share your tools, and then your person shares their tools, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, the one thing that I would have needed to do, you already have, or you've already done, and then vice versa. Okay, so now we can just do this thing because I don't have to go do this that I thought I was going to have to do because you did it. And then vice versa. So it's complementary, and it's really saying that you and your person are ready for this now. You're ready for this journey with each other, and you're ready to ground this into the physical. You're ready to actually take action. Even if you feel like you're kind of still in the middle of a storm, there's a reason you're being called to do this now. And again, just keep, like, I could just beat that message home. Clarity will come later. So right now you're being asked to trust the divine, trust your guidance, trust your higher self, trust how far you've come on the path, and trust that this is the next step for you to fully lock into your highest timeline. And then when you allow yourself to do that, the storm's going to clear and you're going to have clarity just wash over you. I'm seeing, yeah, I'm just like seeing that where it's just like you're like, oh, that's why it couldn't have happened earlier. That's why I didn't do this thing. That's why I didn't pursue that thing. That's why I didn't, this didn't work out and that didn't work out, so on and so forth. It's all about to make sense, but it's not going to make sense until you allow yourself to actually take these action steps, leap and trust the divine. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have this clarity moment where it's like, oh shit, everything makes sense. So this is where you get to trust and allow yourself to follow this guidance without knowing the full picture. And it is one of the scariest things to do, especially when you're first getting used to it, because it's like, why would I be guided to do this now? And then all of a sudden you do the thing and you're like, okay, I'm fucking trusting and I don't know why. And then you do it and then it's like, oh, that's why. So just be prepared for that. You are going to get this clarity. It's just not going to happen until after you take certain steps on the path, and there's a reason for it, because it's learning to trust in your own guidance, and then you get the clarity. And then the more you do that, then sometimes you'll get the clarity before you get the guidance, because you're still going to follow the guidance. And so it's kind of, I don't really like the term divine test because I kind of view it a little bit differently, but it can feel like a divine test because it's one of those like, are you going to listen to your guidance and actually follow the guidance? Are you ready for what this entails? Are you ready for what this path and, in embodying this path requires? Are you ready to leap without knowing why? Are you ready to leap without knowing exactly how you're going to be caught and where it's going to go? That's where you're at right now. So you are up against the edge of expansion and you're being asked to leap. And so again, you can sit there and you can focus on all the fear, or you can decide to focus on the faith and trust and know and allow that you are being guided to do this for a divine reason. And when you're being guided to take steps on the path for a divine reason, it's not just for pain. It's not just to have your heart broken again. That's not why. It's completely the opposite. It's about the divine attempting to deliver you your dreams ultimately. And sometimes it just looks really weird, the path that we take to get there, but it all makes sense. And it's about having the faith and the courage to take those steps and to leap when it comes up. And I feel like you're really being pushed towards the edge of your expansion right now. And the next step for you is to leap in this direction, even though it doesn't make sense, even though your human self would choose to do it in a different way. So, okay. Ultimately, I feel like we got the message through. So with that, I'm gonna leave this here. Sending you all the best. You got this. Remember to go easy on yourself and just know that the clarity for the reasons why certain things happened and certain things didn't and all of that, you're about to get I just heard the clarity of a century. So everything's about to make sense. It's just going to make sense on the other side of this leap when you have that hindsight. And so there's something here with you going towards this person that's going to make a whole lot of things clear. It's like coming into focus where it's like it doesn't make sense. It's all fragmented and you're beating yourself up for it. And then all of a sudden you go towards this person, you start communicating, and then it becomes crystal clear. And you're like, oh, that's why. Okay. So that's something to look forward to. But alrighty dokie. Well, I hope this helps. I feel like I talked for a freaking hour, which it might have been, but anyways, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates. You can let me know in the comments below. If so, I would love to talk to you about it. Feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel, so thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can hit subscribe. It is free. I will see you on the next message.